Alright, it's me again. Oop, that's crooked. You know what? We may have to live with it though. Not going to be much I can do. Oh, maybe I can fix that. That's a little better. I don't know how that happened. That's kind of odd. It's me again. I'm going to turn on my vac. And this is Stella. Hey, Stella. Stella's 6 months old. This is her third haircut, I think. The first one she got feet, face, and tail. And this second one she got a full haircut. And her's a good girl. That's hers. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, I think we got to get to work. I've done nothing on her so far so good. So we're going to see how she does. When I do her pads, I don't go down into them. I actually just take my clipper and go right across the top of them. Down here in Georgia, we have a lot of weird stuff and a lot of moisture. So a lot of dogs end up with yeast infections in their pads, and we found if we can leave some of the hair, we do better. And I'll show you what I just did to her foot. I basically just skimmed all of the hair off. I didn't go down in the pad. So she still has the protective hair in there, but it's still a nice clean foot. I start at the toes and work my way straight towards the back. And I make sure that any hair that's hanging down below the toes in between the front pads gets scissored off flush as well, or trimmed off flush as well. Let's see if I can show you on this one. Sorry, Cricket. I've got dogs under my feet right now, and my dogs are in my way. Let's see if we can do this. But anyway, just go straight across like that. I don't go down deep in. Just right to there. And we're good. I'll switch over to the longer blade for her butt. They've asked for a tighter butt than I like to do. But generally speaking, that's about right for a puppy because you want to make sure that you don't leave a lot of hair there that can be a problem. And she doesn't irritate, so we're going to use the 9 blade on her privates as well. And when I do a belly on most dogs, I take just a little bit off of the inside of the thigh, which I'll show you here. Just a little bit off, kind of like the Schnauzer body, just to give them a little bit of clearance for pee. Most of my clients absolutely love that I do that. I'm going to use the 0 or the yellow comb, which is 16 millimeters, 5/8 of an inch. And she's going to be done in a real quick hurry because she's the same length all over. And if I would quit turning off my clipper, we would be okay. But I keep hitting the button today for some reason. If you'll notice, what I'm doing is I'm doing light, quick strokes. I'm not doing long ones that are going to end up clogging up my clipper. And I do tend to use my clipper vac on pretty much everything that I can. There are reasons for that. They're healthier. You don't end up with as much hair in your face unless you do what I did a few minutes ago and stick your face down in the dog's face and you get hair all in your mouth at that point. They keep hair up off the floor. They reduce hair splinters. I almost never get a hair splinter. I'm not going to say I never do, but I almost never do. And the reason I'm doing this, though, is to show you some techniques on how to do a puppy easily and quickly. We just did Liberty a minute ago. And you can look back through my files and find her. She'll be the video right before this one if you go to my account. Or my channel, I guess I should say. I don't know the lingo. I just work here. When I do legs in the back, I tend to, again, even though I'm not setting angulation, I'm still going to scoop them out because it just, I don't know, it's just easier for me. It's not as painful for the puppy. You don't end up hitting the joints that way. My right hand is killing me today, and I have 9 dogs to groom and 1 bath dog. So it's going to be a fun day. If you'll notice, though, she's being really good, and it's because we started her off early. If you had not started this puppy off as early as we did, at 12 weeks old, we could be having a problem right about now trying to get this done. But she's really good. She knows how to stand on the table. She tolerates the blow dryer fairly well for her age. She's actually really good. She's a good little girl, which is a good thing because I like her and I'd like her to like us. When I get right up in here, I tend to scoop out like that just to follow the contours a little better. One of the keys to doing any dog with a clipper bath is making sure you follow the contours and the way the hair grows. And her hair grows all over the place. It goes this way and then this way and then this way. It's just all over the place. I'm going to get up under there. Oh, oh. And I'm going to hold the leg out to the side just a little bit. I've got my hand on her knee to keep her from kicking. I'm actually holding her back knee securely in my hand. Let's see what we can do, baby girl. Uh-oh, we've got a mat under an armpit. We'll shave that out. I'm not going to demat an armpit on a puppy. It's not bad. It's just bad enough that the comb won't go through it. I must have missed it when I was combing out, and Brian obviously did too. Brian dried her for me because I was out here working on 2 other dogs, including Liberty. Under the neck, I always go up. Sometimes I go down to snap on, sometimes I don't. It depends on the haircut. With this haircut, I'm not going to go any shorter than that. That just tightens them up a little bit in here, makes them a little neater, cleaner for the owner. Gives me the ability to work on their head a little better too, as far as balance goes. And she has got weird hair. She is a Shih Tzu, so she has some straight hair and some curly hair and a lot of wavy hair. Oh, I can get underneath that mat if I go that way. Yay me! All right, puppy kisses time. Give her a break. Stella, you still love me? I think you still love me. I don't do that with every dog, but when a puppy starts to get fidgety, and I could see she was starting to, I'll give them a short break and get down there in their faces a little bit and love on them. It's work time, but they gotta like you too. And I want her to like me. And actually, that's not really a mat. It's more of just a tangle. So there we go. That's out. Yay me. Stella. That one's more of a mat. We'll cut. Oh! I don't know if you saw that, but she just tried to bite me. She growled a little bit. So we're going to shave that one out. We're not going to hurt a puppy. Not going to hurt anybody willingly, but I'm definitely not going to hurt a puppy. At this age, if you hurt them, you'll never be able to handle them safely again. It'll ruin them forever if something happens negatively. So I'm going to shave out both armpits. Now, let's vacuum up that hair to get it off my table. The other nice thing about the vac system is I don't end up with hair all over my table, so I know where I'm at on the puppy. I know what I've done and I know what I haven't. Sometimes if you have an awful lot of hair because the dog had a lot of hair, you can miss a foot or not know exactly what you're doing because there's so much hair piled up. With the vac system, you don't have that problem. And before you guys ask me, because I get an email every time I do this, my vacuum is actually in my kitchen. And I have PVC run that comes down here on my wall. And my Romani hose attachment and swivel, because this actually will literally flip around on you so it doesn't interfere with anything. I mean, I can spin that clipper. Anyway, the Romani attachment and swivel and hose are attached to my plumbing over here, for lack of a better way to put it. It's PVC plumbing. And it runs up and around the ceiling and the edge of the wall and into the kitchen through the wall to the vac. It's back there. I have a variable speed controller on my vacuum, so I'm able to adjust my suction to the length, to the whatever I need to do the job at hand. The less suction you have, the better off you are. You need enough to lift the hair, but not enough to pull the skin. And in my case, I sometimes need a little more just to avoid clogging up. So we have cutoff valves at both stations, because we have 2 stations plumbed into this. And I can turn Billy's station off, or my station off if he needs more suction, and then that works well. And now, because it's a puppy, we're going to use the same comb on her head. And I did it again. I hit the button to turn it off. It's not like me to do that. I'm going to lift her ears up. Turn that way, babe. And get under those ears nice and tight for airflow and just for shape purposes. Remember, I don't touch the skin when I'm doing this. I'm coming down. They have hollows here on their cheeks and here on their skull that you have to avoid when you're using your clipper. So I use them as like a skimmer, almost sculpting. Let me grab this. This is my neighbor. I cut above. May I help you? Hey, Norma. Bo is welcome to come on Thursday. Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. Generally speaking, I have somebody else who answers the phone, but right now my son is drying my dogs for me. So we're going to write it down on our whiteboard again, the voice for Thursday. And I just pulled another hair out of my mouth because, again, I put my face too close to the puppy while I was trimming a minute ago. But anyway, they have little dimples, like right here on the sides, right above the eyes, and then right in here on the side of the face that you want to leave some fill on most of the time. Now for underneath her chin, I'm going to use the same snap-on, and I'm just going to sort of shape it. I'm not touching her chin, but we want the underside really short because that's what her mother asked for. Now if you'll notice, she's pulling. Stella. Stella. But I have my hand under her jaw and on top of her head to prevent her from pulling too far. She's not going to get hurt that way, but it gives me a little more control to where I can get what I need to get done, and I got it done, so I can now let go. Stella. Stella. She does not like having her chin hair held, so we have to make some adjustments the way we're holding the puppy. Oh, I don't know what that was. That was not good. That was a loud sound. Here I'm going, and it's hard to see, but this is more about just seeing that a puppy can be done and how easy it is to do a puppy if they're trained well. Doing it the same way I do all of my heads, nice and round as much as I can. I know some of you are freaking out because I just used the same blade on her face that I used on her butt, but she's clean, and I didn't touch her rectum or her privates with it. I skimmed. So it's all good. And I'm going to be honest with you here. She's going to turn around and lick her butt anyway before long, and it'll be all up in her face. So as long as it's her germs and not somebody else's, I don't really know that it's a problem. If she had a lot of poop or a lot of pee built on, we would have cleaned that up before I even got her. But she's had a bath, and she's ready to go. So I'm not worried about it. All right, my flippers are right over her eyes. And I'm going to show you a little trick on that. I turn my clippers with the curved tips facing away from the puppy. And that's going to leave an arch like this over each eye. And I hold them straight up and down and curve right around the eye to open up the eye and leave a little bit of an expression. But, Stella, turn that way. It also leaves just a little bit of a shelf the way I just did it. And then I'm going to fix that in a minute with my chunkers. Just right over the eyes. Again. Straight up and down. Gives you that shape. I'm going to bulk her face in with my curves. And then I'm going to go back and soften it up with my chunkers and my thinners. Not going to take me long. I think that might have been my yard guy or the neighbor's yard guy, because I hear lawnmower. And while we don't really need our lawn mowed, he runs over it every week just to keep the leaves off the trees and everything else done. Here I am rounding her face down. We're going to do more of a rounded muzzle on her than I do on some of my teddy bears. Yeah, I think that's my yard guy. That's what we heard was a lawnmower not wanting to start properly. All right. Now, before we do anything else, I'm going to round her feet off, and those are the wrong scissors for that. I need a shorter pair. Where are my short curves? I don't see my short curves. So I'll have to use my medium curves. They're better than not having a pair. I always hold the feet in my hands. I think if you have them on the table, you're going to have a problem. It could seriously be an issue. And I'm going to scissor up her leg just a smidge where there was some hair hanging down. I don't know how anybody does feet with them on the table, to be honest with you. Now that being said, when they're done, I put them on the table. And I look to see if they're out of line. But when you're doing around the foot itself. I don't know how anybody does it with the foot on the table. It to me sounds like a dangerous plan. I think you're much more likely to nick one that way than this way. People have a hard time with feet. One thing I find is that they're not coming down the foot. When I come down the leg, I come down the leg and straight down the foot. I float off though, so I'm leaving a little bit of hair there for fill. And I pick my foot up and I round it, kind of like you would a poodle bubble. And there goes my yard guy. He has the worst timing ever. And then in the back, I'm going to cut some angulation just a little bit right there. Come back and touch up her front legs. Don't move. Don't move. And then under her belly with my curves. Just anything I see that the back didn't get the way I want it. And if you'll notice, I came down this way and then left the foot hair. So I have a nice round foot. I'm actually not unhappy with that foot. One thing I do that I've explained before that a lot of people don't do is I do nails after I do the foot. The reason for that is it gives me a little leeway. If you cut them to the longer nail, provided the nails are not super long and way out of whack, then you end up with a rounder foot that you can then go back and shorten up if you need to after the nails are done, but it just gives you some play room. If you end up messing it up, you have some hair to play with. If you do it after the nails are done, you don't have any room to wiggle, so you have no repair work there. It can be done. Alrighty, we're almost there, baby girl. Goodness, everybody go bark at Brian. Go ahead, it's okay, go bark. It's fine. I keep turning my scissors around, facing one way and then the other, depending on what angle I'm trying to get on the foot. Now her nails are incredibly short actually because she's come in the last 4 weeks. So puppies tend to just grow hair really, really quickly. All right, scissors down, chunkers in hand to go along and soften any high spots and eliminate my clipper lines. Especially again, she's got that soft puppy hair that we were talking about on Liberty. And you're gonna have more tracking from the clipper than you would have normally because of the puppy coat being so soft. I don't hold out a lot of hope hers will ever get any better because she's only 6 months old and she was spayed 2 months ago. So I think her coat is doomed to be soft and really unruly for most of her life. Can I see your face again? Right, we're at 17 minutes and 58, so right at 18 minutes now. Not too shabby, huh? Not too bad. All right, let's get this. We don't have much to trim up, no, because you're so good. And this is where a really well prepped coat comes into play, and I'm going to show you in just a minute. You don't have to do any back brushing if your coat is prepped properly. First of all, she's a drop coat. The hair is going to lay down naturally, and that's the way you want to make sure you clipper it. But secondly, look at that. It's actually nothing really popping up, except where she has different textured hair. She is hard up here and straight, and then curlier in the back and fluffy. But I'm going to fluff it just real quick one time. And that's really not back brushing. I'm just combing that hair up to see what I've got. And then I'm going to comb it down. Again, I'm just going to touch it up. Using my chunkers, and these are my chunkers. This is my 8-inch pair. And I chose it because I like the spacing on the teeth for her coat. And every time I look in that camera, I see things that I don't see on this table. So we'll see if we can fix them now. Stella. And Mama likes her ears long. If it were up to me, we'd cut them shorter. Look at the camera. There's Miss Stella. I can already tell you we're going to have leg issues in the future. So working with her young is going to be a big help. Look at how her feet turn. She's not just easty-westy. This one is literally turned sideways. She's going to have problems with her joints and her legs later. So her being accustomed to being handled is critical. And we got it covered. No kisses? Stella. All done? 19 minutes? Okay, 20 minutes. I love grooming puppies.